What if the party you're at is really a funeral for the thing you care about most, your country? This is Jan Matejko's Stańczyk, Poland's most treasured painting. For us to understand the truth this jester could see that others couldn't, in this video we'll find out who the artist is and why he painted it, who the Jester Stańczyk was and why this painting was so important, and finally I'll reveal 2 secrets about this painting that make its message still relevant to you today. Jan Matejko's Stańczyk depicts a lone jester deep in despair while a royal ball revels behind him. This mid-sized painting launched Matejko to fame and is now one of the most iconic images in Polish art. Imagine being a young Polish artist in 1862. Your country no longer exists on the map. Poland had been partitioned by foreign empires for decades. Jan Matejko was one such artist, born under occupation, who made it his mission to revive Polish history on canvas. Historical painting was a way to preserve national identity. Matejko painted grand scenes of Poland's past, with a passion that earned him a central place in Poland's cultural consciousness. But Stańczyk was different from his usual epic battle scenes. Instead of a crowded historical tableau, Matejko chose an intimate, poignant moment focusing on a single figure, the Jester Stańczyk, to deliver a powerful message. By 1862, tension in Poland was high. The Polish people were restless under Russian rule, and the January uprising against occupiers would erupt just 1 year later. Matejko, a patriot at heart, saw parallels between Poland's 16th century misfortunes and the 19th century reality he lived in. He was fascinated by Poland's history of glory and loss, and he believed art could awaken Polish national pride and warn of past mistakes. In Stańczyk, Matejko found the perfect vehicle for his mission. The Renaissance Jester Stańczyk was legendary for speaking truth to power. Matejko had been captivated by this character since his youth, even incorporating Stańczyk into later large-scale works like the Prussian Homage and the Hanging of King Sigismund's Bell. Through the jester's story, he could comment on Poland's past and present. Stańczyk was a real court jester to the King Sigismund the Old in 16th century Poland, a time when the country was at the height of its Renaissance glory. Stańczyk's fame wasn't for juggling or slapstick, it was for his sharp wit and wisdom, a man who used satire to criticize hypocrisy and speak hard truths in the royal court. By the 19th century, long after the jester's death, Stańczyk was revived in literature and art as a patriotic symbol, a reminder of Poland's struggle for independence during the dark years of foreign rule. The painting presents Stańczyk as the one sane man in a moment of national crisis. In Matejko's scene, a lavish ball is in full swing in the next room. We see blurred figures dancing under chandelier light, celebrating without a care. They are the Polish nobility and royalty, rejoicing after the recent victory at the Battle of Orsha in 1514. But Stańczyk sits apart, slumped in a chair in a dimly lit antechamber, his face distraught. But why? On the table beside him lies an opened letter bearing terrible news. It announces that the Polish-Lithuanian fortress of Smolensk has fallen to the Grand Duchy of Moscow. In reality, Smolensk's loss in 1514 was a devastating blow, a national tragedy. But here in the painting, the court is too busy partying to notice. Only Stańczyk understands the catastrophe. Matejko emphasizes this by painting Stańczyk sitting in the spotlight like a tragic protagonist, while the chorus of oblivious courtiers frolic in the background. This stark contrast between joy and despair is the heart of the painting's drama. Let's examine the symbolism Matejko wove into this scene. Stańczyk's jester's marotte, the fool's sceptre with the mini jester head, lies discarded at his feet. He has dropped the pretense of comedy. This jester isn't laughing. His entertainment duties are forgotten in the face of real crisis. On Stańczyk's chest, we glimpse a small medallion of the Black Madonna of Częstochowa, a revered icon of Poland. It's a subtle reminder of the spiritual heart of the Polish nation, as if Stańczyk carries Poland's soul and with it its sorrow around his neck. On the table, the letter with the royal seal lies open underneath a crumpled white cloth, perhaps hastily tossed aside by a court official who then returned to the dance, not grasping its significance. But Stańczyk did read it, and his worst fears are confirmed. Through the open door and windows of the chamber, Matejko adds further visual omens. A lute carried by a dwarf jester is seen heading into the ballroom. In Matejko's era, a dwarf in art could symbolize a decline in moral stature, and the lute, an instrument of glory and harmony, in such hands, hints of the glory of the kingdom is being borne by those of diminished virtue, a sign of looming decline. Outside the window, we see the dark outline of Wawel Cathedral in Krakow. The very place where Polish kings are crowned is now shrouded in night. Above the spire, a comet streaks across the sky. In Renaissance times, and indeed throughout history, comets were viewed as portents of disaster, harbingers of great change or misfortune. Matejko, ever detail-oriented, even included 3 faint stars of Orion's belt next to the comet. In mythology, Orion was a proud hunter brought down by a mere scorpion sting, a symbol that even great powers can fall due to small, unforeseen dangers. Every element in Stańczyk adds to the sense of gloom and national tragedy on the horizon. What makes this painting so emotionally powerful is how relatable Stańczyk's predicament feels. This is not just a scene from 1514, it's an allegory for any time in history when a nation dances on the edge of collapse, ignorant of the warning signs. Matejko painted Stańczyk for 19th century Poles, urging them to remember how Poland's golden age crumbled, not all at once, but through accumulated mistakes and complacency. The story's not over yet, but if you're enjoying this fascinating tale behind Jan Matejko's Stańczyk, please click the like button and subscribe to get more. I put them out every Tuesday, and I'm excited to share more of what I love about art with you. And if Jan Matejko's Stańczyk really speaks to you, you can own a copy for yourself. We have this and hundreds of others available in our store, artloveart.com. The link's in the description. Every piece you collect helps me continue to make intriguing videos like this one. So, thank you. Okay, that's that bit over. Let's get back to the story. Now, for a hidden detail many viewers overlook, the date on that letter. If you zoom in, you can make out that the letter is dated 1533 in Roman numerals and marks Samogitia, a region in the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. But hold on, the fall of Smolensk happened in 1514. So why does Matejko reference 1533? This is no accident by the meticulous Matejko. It's a clue pointing to a famous anecdote about Stańczyk that reveals a deeper layer of meaning. In the year 1533, King Sigismund the Old, Stańczyk's king, organised a grand bear hunt. The bear, a huge beast from the forests of Lithuania or Samogitia, was brought caged for a royal hunting spectacle. During the hunt, things went terribly wrong. The frightened bear, once released from its cage, charged at the king, Queen Bona, and the royal courtiers. Chaos ensued. Queen Bona was thrown from her horse in the melee, tragically suffering a miscarriage. The event was a fiasco. Later, An angry King Sigismund berated Stańczyk. Presumably, the jester had fled the scene to save himself instead of heroically confronting the bear. How dare the jester run away? Stańczyk's legendary reply was as sharp as it was wise. He said, "It is a greater folly to let out a bear that was already in a cage." In other words, who's the real fool here? Stańczyk implied that the greater stupidity was releasing the captive bear in the first place. This remark wasn't just about a bear. Everyone at the court understood the metaphor. Stańczyk was daring to criticize the king's policy in a joking disguise. The bear in the cage symbolized Poland's defeated enemies. Specifically, Stańczyk alluded to how Poland had defeated the Teutonic Knights in Prussia years earlier, yet the king allowed the Prussian state to remain semi-independent instead of fully incorporating it into the crown. In Stańczyk's view, letting that bear out of the cage, or letting a vanquished foe regain power, was a foolish risk that would one day come back to bite the country. History proved him right. That decision allowed Prussia to survive and eventually grow strong. Indeed, Prussia later played a major role in the partitions and destructions of the Polish Commonwealth in the 18th century. In the painting, while courtiers celebrate, Stańczyk is likely remembering the bigger picture. The loss of Smolensk in 1514 and the bear anecdote of 1533 carry the same message. Poland's downfall began with the short-sightedness of those in power. Matejko, by referencing 1533, reinforces that Stańczyk foresaw the death of a nation in slow motion. Finally, there's one more powerful secret in this painting. Have you noticed how authentic Stańczyk's face looks? That's because Matejko painted his own face onto Stańczyk. The sorrowful eyes of the jester are Jan Matejko's eyes. The furrowed brow is Matejko's. By doing this, Matejko was saying, "I am Stańczyk." He was just 24 years old, but he felt the weight of centuries of Polish history on his shoulders. Matejko is telling us that Stańczyk's story is not just a historical tale. It's a living reality for those who care to look. In a way, we are all Stańczyk when we find ourselves worrying about our country or community while everyone else seems unconcerned. Jan Matejko painted Stańczyk as a wake-up call across the ages, as if he's asking us, are you paying attention? As we conclude, take one last close look at Stańczyk's anguished eyes. They ask a question. Do you feel like a lone jester sitting while your country burns and everyone keeps dancing? If you do, let me know in the comments. And after you've left the comment, check out this other fascinating story. I'm sure you'll love it. Cheers.